This is how to automate your design study in Miro using Grasshopper. So the great benefit is that you can easily share your design studies with your non-technical design team members that can then add their ideas and give new input to the design process. All right, so for this demo, I used the urban mesh from the previous demo and I created a facade module for it. This is essentially where we have the urban mesh. Then there is the facade module. I will not explain these. And then eventually we're going to send different variations of this design study to Miro. All right, so let's zoom in and look at our automation. On the left side, we basically see for each option, the camera swap 6 times. So in this case, every 5 seconds, it will create a new snapshot of all the named views that we prepared. And it will basically, on a new column, create a new image of our variant. And then once it's done with this option, so this is then the last view. So this is option 4. Then it will go on the next row to option 5. And we also see our little GFA statistic. Of course, we can add more statistics if we want. But note that this is then the same view. In this case, the views are chosen at random a bit for this demo. But of course, you can exchange these for meaningful views that are relevant to whatever you are investigating. Let's look at the tail end of the script. So it's relatively straightforward. One important detail at the end of the script, we need some sort of trigger that whenever a computation is ready, we only start to send our data when the entire computation is finished. One way to do this is basically take all the final geometry that you want and then just flatten it, turn this into a boolean that will recompute whenever the geometry is finished. And then this we use to trigger the generation of the image, which then triggers the final upload of the image to the Miro board. All right, so step 1, create, of course, a free account on Miro. Go to developers.miro.com, create an app and obtain an access key. Small note, of course, any token should actually be an environment variable. So for the demo, I just placed it on the canvas, but this should be a bit more strategic if you're building something for the long run. Step 2, create an empty board, copy the ID from the URL. This goes in here. So step 4, find a way to generate a title and some text. This is optional. So if you only want the image, then you can skip this step. Then step 5 is we need some sort of way to trigger computations. Now there's many ways to do this. I'm just going for something very low key. Since this geometry takes a little bit longer to build, I could put this in 2 seconds. I'm using 5, so I have time to get myself some coffee. And then once we're gonna play this, it will start to trigger computations every 5 seconds. And the nice thing about this is that as our design iterations are coming through, is that we can easily invite our team members to start working in Miro in a way they want, right? So maybe we're talking about this and just sketching something over it, having an interesting conversation where we can start putting our comments on them. I think the value of this is not so much the data-driven approach, but much more the designer approach.